Today I'm going to let you in on one of my most important secrets for wilderness navigation, and that is daily conditioning. I often make 30-mile round trips. In fact, there's Gas Peak. And the way I do that from the end of Rainbow Avenue up to the summit and back is, and the end of Rainbow Avenue is right over here, by the way. But the route that I take is a 30-mile round trip that involves traveling over a lot of rough wilderness area along avalanche slopes. You don't want to sprain your ankle or run out of energy up at the top of Gas Peak, because there's nothing close and you're out there alone. So it's important to condition yourself. And so my conditioning is daily, and it's a 6-mile run and actually a full body workout on this abandoned golf course. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, it's a full body workout. It challenges me. It keeps my my ankles in very good shape, so I can wear these running shoes, trail running shoes, as opposed to heavy hiking boots. So I'm wearing the light shoes, but as you can see, they don't have any ankle support or very little ankle support. So very important to strengthen the ankles. So the first thing I'd say about this course is that as you can see, there's a lot of up and down, and there's a lot of rough ground to run on. And you know, it's not like asphalt. When you run on asphalt, what happens is you're not strengthening the lateral movement of your ankles. You're just repetitively striking the ground at the same exact angle and impact. And what happens are two things. One is you're not strengthening your ankles. Two, that repetitive impact that is the same over and over again on asphalt or cement is even worse. What that does is it creates repetitive motion injury, where when you're running off trail or off road, what that does is a couple things. One is it's easier on all the joints of the body because the ground absorbs a lot of the impact. If you're on asphalt, that is going to be a much harder surface. If you run on, like you see a sidewalk here, if you run on cement, that is the hardest surface. And I can guarantee, at least my experience has been, I have created repetitive motion running injuries over and over again when I used to run on the road, asphalt road and sidewalks. I'd end up with joint injuries from my ankles all the way up to my neck. And so running off-road is going to strengthen you for off-road wilderness experiences, but it's also a healing experience. It's going to keep you healthy. So here's the first stretch of this golf course, and rather than run on the sidewalk over there, I'm going to weave around through the bushes and over rocks, and it's a very healthy thing that's going to strengthen every part of my body, really. as I run. And like I said, 6 miles a day. And so let's continue on. Still on that first stretch, I start out early so that I can keep a regular pattern. If you do your daily workout later in the day, life tends to get in the way. And so I usually start out about 5 a.m. If you're not an early riser, that could be a little problem with that, but find a time of the day that you can count on so it can be regular. It's got to be consistent, otherwise it's going to be a little brutal and you might likely give up. Now, as I mentioned, I do not run on the on the cement, but you can see where I've actually created a little path next to the sidewalk that in this portion of the course that I'm running. And so let's continue on through. One thing about this daily run that helps me make it consistent is that it's interesting. There again is the first stretch, and we're looking back now, and there you see Gas Peak, that 30-mile round trip. And so as I'm running, I can look at places that I have my wilderness wanderings and runs. There is the Sheep Range. So it's pretty cool to be able to see the locations, and there's a page on Las Vegas area trails for each of these locations I'm going to point out. So we pan around now and look what we have ahead of us. Here is, well, let's look over down this direction. We'll start down here and work our way up. There's Mount Wilson. And as I said, there's a page on Las Vegas area trails for each of these locations. Here is Damsel Peak. The other side of Damsel Peak is Calico Basin. Here is La Madre Mountain. And you see these two peaks. The one to the right is La Madre Mountain. The one to the left is El Padre Mountain. And then moving around, there we go. There is Griffith Peak. And then continuing around here, Charleston Peak. And then Fletcher Peak, the green hill mountain, 10,300 feet actually. And Charleston Peak is 11,900. Then Mummy Mountain, which is 11,500 feet. So as you can see, pretty inspiring views as I run. And then as I'm doing my daily workout, I'm looking at these wilderness destinations, and it just reminds me why I run this course every day, day in and day out. I give myself 1 day a week of rest. It's good to allow your body to recuperate 1 day a week, so I have 1 day of total rest. But the other days I'm out here running this course. It only takes me about an hour to do the full body workout, and I'll show you some of the other workout things that I do on this run. But it only takes me about an hour. I didn't have to travel anywhere. It's right out my front door, and so that makes it convenient. And that's another important thing for your workouts, that they're convenient. You don't have to go through a lot just to do your workout. You know, it doesn't take you a half hour to drive somewhere and a half hour to get back, and you're dressing down, taking a shower at some gym. That makes it hard to be consistent, and it's important that that you pick some kind of workout. Of course, you don't have to do the workout that I do. This is just just what works for me. But it's important to make it easy. By the way, there is Potassium Mountain on the horizon there. So, boy, there's so much that you can see, and seeing it in the sunrise is very beautiful too. Okay, let's continue. Here we begin the next stretch, and as you can see, land is pretty well broken up, which is what really helps to condition the ankles for the wilderness. And here's a quick 360-degree view. You see the sun is just beginning to rise. Damsel Peak and the Mount Charleston Wilderness behind that tree. Let's continue. Well, it's a 27-hole golf course that has been abandoned, so that definitely makes it interesting. This is the second stretch. There are 6 stretches to the course, and here again, let's do a 360. Sheep Range, Gas Peak, Rising Sun. And just look at the terrain here. This does both challenge the ankles, keeps them strong, and it also is much lower impact, which keeps my joints healthy instead of battered on the asphalt and cement. Okay, continuing on, straight down this, I don't know if you call it a fairway or whatever it is, but here we go. Okay, here we're starting out on the third stretch. This is a fairway, definitely, or it was at one time. And again, 360-degree view. See some of the familiar backgrounds over the tops of those homes. Okay, let's continue on. And did I say this was interesting? Well, one of the ways that this remains interesting day after day is that I decided I would make this my own ecological project, and there was paper and garbage all over this course, and it'd be blowing around. I didn't want to run in that. I wanted to run in an area that was free of junk, because what you're looking at as you do your run really feeds the soul. And so what I did was I began taking one little plastic shopping bag a day and filled it up with about 1 cubic foot of junk. And I did this over 2 years, and until, as you can see, there's no junk anywhere. This is like a national park, my own private national park as it is, and so it was my way of giving back, and also it made it more interesting to run in this beautiful situation where it's free of junk. And did I say this was interesting? Here's a seldom traveled area on the course. As you can see, it's just kind of between walls and down in a gully. But I just like to say the animals that I see here, I've seen about 30, 40 rabbits. There's one just crossed. You have to look quickly to see it. But I see 30 or 40 rabbits each day. So that kind of holds my interest. And there are both the small brown rabbits that you see. There are jackrabbits, and as you can hear in the background, lots of birds, lots of different kinds of birds. Let's see. By the way, there's a rabbit hiding in that. You see her right in the center there. There it goes. I've seen wild desert kit foxes and lots of coyotes, packs of coyotes. In fact, here's little evidence of a desert coyote that didn't make it. So, once again, I'm in nature, which is really beautiful, and I get to experience this 5 times a week on this course. The 6th day is rest day. The 7th day is the mountain adventure. As I mentioned, some of the mountains that I reach require a 30-mile round trip. Okay, onward. And did I say this was interesting? Here's a section. I'm going to walk this so I can record it. So as you can see, a lot of weaving around bushes. And then I find this little passageway under a road, which is pretty cool. So here we go. As you can see, I made a little pathway to it. And here we are, inside. This is like one of those tunnels that people dream about in a near-death experience with a light at the end of the tunnel. So just another interesting element in my daily run workout. Got to make it interesting, so you'll do it every single day. And here we go, emerging. You wonder what's the other side of that tunnel of light. And here you are. More wilderness. Definitely, this is what heaven would be. You'd emerge into wilderness. And there's actually a double tunnel. And there's the other one. As you can see on the other end of this thing, it's totally choked. Almost totally choked with brush on the other end of this tunnel. But you'll notice there's a little light opening, which I've created. And sometimes I run this tunnel just to vary it and make it interesting. And by the way, another interesting element is the wildflowers. So you're experiencing desert wildflowers. So you got to make your run, your daily workout, interesting. See a lot of beautiful things, and in these forgotten, hidden areas, they're full of beauty if you just take the time to look at them. And they're all around where we live in Las Vegas. It's not just junky area. it may look like that when you're speeding past in a car, but believe me, just get out there, take a look, create your own adventure course, and run that every day, and it'll keep you in shape, plus it'll feed the soul. In my wilderness runs, there are a lot of avalanche slopes to navigate. And here's a little avalanche slope I navigate every day, which just helps to keep my awareness on my feet and my, the security of where I'm planting my feet. And, I can go diagonal across an avalanche slope, but if I continue this way, I'm going to slip. So I'm going to go straight up and then turn. And I do that same movement in the wilderness. I avoid as much as I can going diagonal across an avalanche slope, with one huge exception, which is Gas Peak in the background there, and what I call the Gas Peak Gauntlet. So you got to look at the Gas Peak summit page on Las Vegas area trails, and you'll see where I traverse a 1 to 2 mile avalanche slope up at the top of Gas Peak, and that's pretty hairy, but doing this every day really helps to prepare me for those experiences. Another tunnel. As I mentioned, I tend this space and keep it passable. This tunnel was totally choked with brush. There's the brush. And as you can see, I've stacked it on either side rather than it choking the tunnel, because I want to be able to run through this every day. So, another tunnel with a light at the end. And here we are emerging into more wilderness. And did I say this was an interesting course? Well, there are some tight spots. And here you wonder how am I going to get through all these bushes? There is a way. And here we go. Tight squeeze there, but it works. And did I say this was interesting? Here's a little pond. And in this pond I have seen ducks. And there's a few right down there. Ducks raising their families. I've seen Canadian geese and wild herons. So just another beautiful area. Another fairway. There's a bunny in the distance. Let's see. Let's see if we can nail this. Can't see it. There we go. Right in the center. There's Mount Charleston Wilderness, La Madre Mountains Wilderness. And let's continue on. Here's an abandoned clubhouse. The windows a lot of them were broken, so they boarded them up. Was a beautiful clubhouse at one time. And you see there's some junk around. I've actually removed a cubic foot a day for 2.5 years now. So you count that 5 days a week for 2.5 years, a cubic foot. It's a lot of cubic feet. And probably in the area of a ton, 2,000 pounds of junk, just by taking my little shopping bag a day and filling it up with golf course junk. And that's why even this area, which was really trashed, is looking very good at this point compared to what it was. And there we go, Gas Peak, sheep range. As I mentioned, this is a full body workout. Runners and hikers are notorious for just working their legs and having a weak upper body. But if you're going to be navigating wilderness areas with class 3 and some class 4 ledges to traverse, then you definitely want a strong upper body. So this is part of my upper body workout. And I do 80 of those every day. This next workout is one of the single most important movements that I do. And it helps my lower back. It helps my leg strength for raising my legs high and going over obstacles rather than tripping on them. But as far as my lower back, it is, going downhill on mountains is very hard on the lower back. And running down a mountain, I've run down from Mount Charleston, the summit, down to the South Climb Trailhead in an hour and a half. That's running pretty fast downhill. And it used to be that I would have lower back problems for a week after doing something like that. And now you could say, well, stop doing it. That was stupid. But how about finding a way to erase those lower back problems? And here is the workout that I created that totally erases my lower back problems and strengthens my legs to lift them high over obstacles as I'm running. Okay, here we go. So the key is to lift your leg as high as you can, make the biggest circle you can make, do it slowly, and just build strength. I do 4 sets of 5, each direction, each leg. So I'll show you once more, and just take a look at how I lift my legs high, I make a slow circle, and I make that circle as wide as possible. Okay, this next exercise is a stretching exercise, and it strengthens my hamstrings, my knees, and my neck. You'll see there are a number of different exercises that I do, and once again I do many more repetitions than I'm going to show you now, but we'll go through one. Here we go. This neck roll, once again, I make the widest movement that I can possibly make. And by the way, running downhill also puts a lot of pressure on the neck joint. Okay. Then we do some leg stretches, and these stretches are going to help to really stretch out these muscles. And notice I hold for about the count of 10. Then do a couple of these, and each time I reach the edge, I'm going to hold for the count of 10. I'm not going to do that right now, so I want to make this video shorter, but I would normally hold for a 10 count. This gives me another stretch. And then finally, there's this stretch. I'll show with the other leg. It's just important to keep these muscles stretched out, because when you're going up 4,000 or 5,000 feet, and you're continually raising your legs, you're continually stretching in various positions as you climb. It's important to be very limber and flexible. Otherwise, injuries begin to develop. So part of my full body daily workout. Here we are in the home stretch, last 100 yards, just 6 miles a day, off-road. And again, this is what enables me, just these 6 miles a day, 5 days a week, enables me to do 30-mile round trips with a 5, 6, sometimes 7,000 overall elevation gain, and large stretches of wilderness in isolation where you don't want to get an injury. So do not try to be a weekend warrior. That's another problem that that hikers and wilderness runners might have is you don't do anything during the week and then all of a sudden you go out and hike. That's a weekend warrior, which is a recipe for injury. There's Gas Peak, Sheep Range again. So make your workouts consistent. If your weekend involves wilderness, off-road, then if your workout can also be off-road, that will truly help prepare you. When I first began doing these wilderness experiences, I sprained my ankle a number of times until that was when I was in my 30s. I haven't sprained my ankle for years now because I've been strengthening my ankles off-road every single day. Okay, let's run it in. Okay, you'll recognize this spot. This is actually across this street is where we began. We've now made the full circle. There you can see Gas Peak, and then here's a great view of the Mount Charleston Wilderness straight through the trees up here. Griffith Peak there. Let's see, let's get a good look at it. There you go, Griffith Peak. Okay, back around to home. And as with all my runs, we end up back at the Beast. And here is the Beast parked in its driveway.